at 573-875-KTGR. The Big Show starts now.
You bet it does. Welcome into Monday's edition of The Big Show on your total sports station, KTGR. Andy Humphrey, Brendan Schaefer here. So is producer Billy. The college football playoff hopes for Mizzou football are now donezo. Can stop talking about that and now talk about whatever else might be in store for this program, for this team going forward, Brendan, after a loss on Saturday that, didn't feel good.
That was bad.
It was bad.
That was bad. Is that all we need? See you tomorrow?
See you tomorrow.
I don't have to say more about this game, do
I? No. Yeah, I think we are required to say more words about it, unfortunately. So we will do that coming up in a few minutes. We want your words on that game. Hopefully keep them clean to us. 573-875-KTGR. Well, I understand it'll be hard to keep them clean. But
I don't think you were talking to me when you were saying that, but I will do my best as well to keep it clean.
I would appreciate that.
All right.
We will talk to Bill Connelly of ESPN. We know he keeps it clean all the time.
He'll keep it clean.
He's a professional. He of ESPN, he'll join us at 425 to talk about the Mizzou A&M game and all the other big games from college football this past weekend and what's to come this upcoming Saturday. And Mizzou basketball gets to 3-0 after yesterday's win.
Thank goodness. I was talking to you on Friday, talking about, I don't recall a Friday, Sunday. That's a quick turnaround for basketball. Thank goodness they played a game on Sunday, because our conversation about Mizzou basketball today would be a lot different if they had.
I mean, we could still kind of talk about the bad and the good.
I think we will.
I think we 525, get your Mizzou basketball takes in. They're 3 games into the season. All of them have been wins so far, but they have not all looked the same. So call or text us with what you think about it. 573-875-KTGR. You can tweet us at KTGR Big Show. We're also live on YouTube. YouTube.com/@KTGR Sports. Subscribe if you don't already. We are also live on Facebook at Facebook.com/KTGR Big Show.
Now, the Big Show's Big Deal.
After Mizzou's 38-17 loss to Texas A&M, the Tigers are now, for the first time since week 2, unranked in the AP Top 25. They fell out of those rankings. They are still ranked in the coaches poll. They're number 24, so just hanging on in that poll. The college football playoff rankings obviously don't come out until tomorrow night. Since Mizzou is number 22 there, you probably expect that they will fall out of that top 25 as well. As the Tigers fell 38-17, they dropped to 6-3 overall on the season, 2-3 in conference play. They have one more home game left. It's this Saturday as they host Mississippi State on Senior Day. It's a night game. Kickoff is at 6:45 p.m. as the Tigers now try to reset some goals for the rest of the season, and that is the Big Show's Big Deal on this 10th day of November 2025. Call or text us here at 573-875-KTGR. If you want to get your thoughts in on what was, a disappointing loss. That's how I can describe it. And to the most part, I will say this about it. It's not disappointing in that Mizzou really had a ton of chances to go and win it. I was watching that game gradually as it played out, a little more reserved to the fact that, look, A&M's just better. And I just don't see a way. Like, Mizzou had a pat. I'm not saying Mizzou had no chance to win this game. They did. But it was going to require A&M coming with less than their best. It was not, with the way that A&M played on Saturday, it was not going to matter who Mizzou had at quarterback. Wasn't going to matter who they had in at running back or wide receiver or right guard or defensive tackle or weak side linebacker. Like, A&M just they don't have a bunch of players that are the best in the SEC at what they do, but they have a bunch of A- to B+ players at every spot, everywhere. And they just play consistently and they wear you down. And that's what happened here.
All right. I mean, I think Mizzou could have played a much better game, and then we could have seen. I don't disagree that A&M's the better team. They are the better team. I don't think it had to be a 21-point loss, but we did say there's a lot of variance coming into this game because of the unknown of what will Zollers give you. Will he give you something close to what we saw when he was rushed into relief duty at Vanderbilt? Because that was pretty damn good. Or will he give you something closer to what you might expect of a true freshman making his first start after missing his senior year of high school football? And we got that version of Zollers for sure. Now, Andy, I was at the game with a ticket. You were in the press box. I didn't have access to a TV feed. I've heard a lot said since about Zollers kind of taking a shot to the hand at one point. And so was that something that contributed to his performance thereafter? I would say that if it was, I don't know how much the coaching staff necessarily baked it in because, and again, what you said I think is generally true, but I'm not going to let it stop there with the fact that, well, A&M's just better and so Mizzou wasn't going to win. I'm going to look at some of the things that made it a lot worse than it had to be, and it's for another week in a row, play calling is on the list, and not just like the general plan, but situational play calling. But when it comes to the general plan, let's start here with Matt Zollers. You've got this quarterback. We've talked about what you're up against with a guy making his first start and the inexperience, and so you would like to believe that a game plan would include put him in positions to make the easy ones, to make the plays that can just keep moving the chains and give yourselves a chance. And maybe they started with that, and he didn't really demonstrate touch on those short passes. He was doing the thing where you're probably a little bit overamped, and so you're firing the ball too hard. It's going a little bit above your target, making some of those types of mistakes. But it seemed like the adjustment was like, I don't know, let's just see if he can chuck it deep. And it worked till Lubide one time, and otherwise it was just kind of a lot of sideline throws, throw it up and pray. And, that was sort of the plan that I saw as it pertains to Matt Zollers and the way they were going to try to get the passing attack going.
Sure. And look, if there were more opportunities to get that going, then maybe they should have tried that a little bit better.
Where was the offense at Vandy I'm not saying that A&M and Vandy are the same defenses,
I understand that. But
there's no rhythm to any of it.
No, there wasn't. Zollers also, I thought, in the spots where he could make some of those throws, it just wasn't quite on target on a few of them. Yeah. Like it's both in this game. People are trying to make it one thing or the other. Oh, Zollers is a bust now, or no, he got absolutely no help, and there's no in between. No, I think both are true. Like he
was bad, and he got no help.
I don't think it's true that Zollers is a bust. I'm saying that he's saying that first start as a true freshman quarterback.
He played terribly. It's okay.
And he wasn't planning, I'm sure, to have this be the time where he's making his first college start. No one was. That's the result. That's what you get most of the time. This happened similarly with Drew Lock in the start of his career about 10 years ago. So
I just don't want to pretend that that this was the narrative all along when it wasn't.
No.
For 2 weeks leading up to this game, I had to hear about how Bo Perbula getting injured was a blessing in disguise, and that was just bullcrap. And we found that out definitively. What I left room for interpretation on is maybe there is that chance that Zollers at his stage of his career is already elevated to a point where that downfield passing attack is going to come to fruition in ways that we hadn't been able to see from Bo Perbula. We didn't see that. And I do agree with you. Bo Perbula plays this game. I think the outcome is still the same. Maybe it's closer, but I still think Mizzou loses. I do think Bo Perbula would have given you a better chance. I think Bo Perbula against Mississippi State probably gives you a better chance if he's healthy. It's not to say that I know what Matt Zollers is going to be for his whole career, but he is my belief. And again, we saw him against the top defense, Mississippi State, less so a top defense. So maybe we see more out of Zollers if he's healthy. But that's one of the frustrations I have is like people are just so ready to say, oh, forget that Bo guy. I mean, Zollers was clearly the guy that should have been playing all along. No, like we can retroactively go back now and say, no, it wasn't crazy that the coaching staff had Bo Perbula playing quarterback for this football team. There's a lot to learn from Matt Zollers. He's got potential, I'm sure, but he wasn't up to the task in this game. And so as we're just kind of doing some housekeeping about the narratives that, it's easy to say something and then a new thing happened and we forget what we said beforehand and just act like that never happened. But there's some of this of, we were anointing that Matt Zollers' passing offense was going to be X, Y, and Z, and he's a true freshman making his first start, and it went about as it might under those circumstances more often than not. But that's the passing side of it, Andy. That also should hopefully bake in at various points of this game. Before it was basically a blowout in the second half.
Yeah.
There's hopefully going to be a realization that, man, we got to manage this thing a little bit differently because we're not getting anywhere with our passing offense in the first half. I don't know what the yardage was for Zollers, but it wasn't very many.
No.
And you have an opportunity to go into the halftime down 7-0, which I know is not, nobody's doing cartwheels in the locker room, I think, at that point. But you do get the ball coming out and maybe a chance to make some halftime adjustments. But the game was lost in the final minute of the first half definitively with the sequence that leads to a Matt Zollers fumble. A&M returns it down to the goal line and they punch it in to make it 14-0 with a passing offense for Missouri that was just non-existent. You just couldn't afford to go down 2 scores, and it didn't have to be that way. And so I thought that was a significant whiff on the part of whatever you want to call it, coaching, play calling, and even more direct than play calling, schematically to the flow of the game.
Yeah.
It was unfathomable that was permitted to take place.
Yeah, look, it's the product of a lot of things. It's the product of A&M thriving again, no matter who they're facing against teams that are facing 3rd and long. It's Mizzou having a true freshman quarterback that is not able at this point in time, or at least wasn't at that exact moment, to recognize
from what we've seen,
to recognize where a blitz is coming from. And keep in mind, you're playing A&M. It could be from where nobody expects it to come. And that's exactly what happened there. If you're looking for one more person, for someone to blame most, so I suppose it's the coaching staff on that for not having the correct protection to be able to recognize where that blitz could potentially be.
Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're still saying the correct protection. Drinkwitz, after the game, did his fall on the sword act that he often does, which I'm not saying is wrong. I don't know if you have the quote for that.
Yeah. Here's the audio from Eli Drinkwitz on that particular play. I'm going to make sure that I mute all other audio on my computer. But here is what Drinkwitz said.
Yeah, I mean, we were trying just to make sure they had 3 timeouts, so we wanted to get the first down. And then once we got the first down, we tried to see if we get points. When it got to 3rd and 9 right there, we tried to go to a max protection flood concept, but ultimately they had a blitz on and they were able to swing the mic to the field and ultimately had a free hitter. So that's my fault. It's poor scheme. I gave the okay to try to get the first down there, and I should have said to throw a screen instead.
So that was that.
So that was his thought process of, hey, this went horrifically wrong. What should have happened is a screen pass where maybe you have a chance to get the first down with that. Maybe you don't, but should be a completion, should force A&M to burn a timeout, should be able to punt it away and limit their ability to then traverse the length of the field with the limited time that they would have remaining. Now, I believe that series, it was mentioned like they wanted to get that first down. They got that first down. I believe you had a long run by Jamal Roberts that puts you into a situation, but then even the next 2 plays. So minute 10 is what I want to take you back to because it's first down.
Yeah.
You're approaching midfield.
Right.
Even on the 3rd and 10, Drink is saying we should have put the ball in the air. I would say that was incomplete fumble recovery on a pass play. He's saying 3rd and 10, we should have done a different pass play. And I'm saying, what are you hoping to accomplish realistically in that sequence that is worth the risk of what happened versus run the ball again and see if you get to maybe midfield to be able to do what you're hoping to do? Or maybe you just try to get to half down 7-0.
Right.
What are they looking to accomplish? Like when you're coaching this moment, these are the things you have to be asking yourself. So I won't even go to the 3rd and 10 directly. I'll start at 1st and 10, where if you say, hey, we're trying to get in the burner timeout, what realistically good can happen, in our opinion, of that following sequence?
Because with 1:17 left, it's 1:17 when he's coming off the coming out of bounds, and you're at your own 42. I think another run would have been fine there as long as you're brisk to the ball after
we had a timeout or two, right?
2 timeouts left.
Okay.
So it's like in that situation, like you obviously like running on it in the first series because you
loved it.
Because if it doesn't work out, then you're not giving enough time for A&M to get the ball because they had all their timeouts. And so like you need to I think there's another spot there. You're right, where they could have been a little more methodical with how they're going to go. Yeah, right.
Like, and I usually complain in years past, I've complained about Drink being too conservative at times. I don't think that's applicable in a game where we've talked about the circumstances surrounding your quarterback and knowing what you're up against. And you got to see a half of him play as well.
Yeah.
You got to see a half of going, oh yeah, we're not quite getting the version of him that we had hoped. This Johnny Manziel miracle is not bursting for us right now. And so we have to recognize kind of where we're at and where we're living. And we're living in a game where our defense has kept us in it in the first half. It's a 7-0 football game. Our defense is playing really, really well. It would really be nice to put some points up here, but we just cannot afford a disaster. And let's say you're not thinking about your quarterback getting strip sacked, because that's not a common outcome. Totally understandable that would not be like, you're not playing with that level of fear. But I would make the case that the upside is getting to where to try to put 3 points on the board with which kicker are you even going to run out there?
And here's the thing, though. I would have pushed for Mizzou to get 6 on that. That's where I was coming from. Because, look. And
clearly they were with the play calling.
That's what they were thinking. That was after Oliver Robbins was short on a 50-yarder. And look, kudos to Robbins for coming back out there and blasting the other one for 49.
That was cool.
Good on him.
I had zero expectations for that kick.
But going into that, I could have seen a Mizzou team that was very uncertain about its kicking situation at that point, thinking, let's just go get 6. Let's be
see
aggressive.
How fast we can do it.
Let's see how, and with a minute
and so that
17, right.
So a touchdown is what you're hoping to accomplish,
I think
right?
So.
Because you know what the kicker just gave you, which again, he made the later one from 49, but as you correctly identified, Andy, you can't expect it in that moment that you're going to be able to wedge into field goal range and take a shot. That wouldn't be a bad outcome. Give yourself a chance at points, get the ball coming out of half down 4. That would be lovely. That would have been a great way to finish the half. But realistically, you're right. The kicking thing is not a perfect option because it's unlikely to succeed. Do you believe that Matt Zollers was going to lead the team 58 yards down the field in a minute 10?
Yeah, I don't
realistically, even with the 2 timeouts, what's the odds of that? I get it. You're trying to play to win the football game. But I think in the first half at that moment, it's okay to lean into the run, not from the beat the drum, they need to run the ball more and Hardy needs more touches. It was crazy how many drives in a row he was out of the game entirely in the first half. I was convinced he was hurt and thought it was crazy that he wasn't.
Well,
you know what? Jamal Roberts was good.
Here's the thing.
Jamal Roberts was good.
Yeah, that's my take on this. I think Hardy was used the exact right amount in this game.
That's fine. That's not even a thing that I think is top 5 on the list of things to talk about today, so we don't have to.
All right.
Roberts looked really good, and I appreciate the player he has turned himself into. And does he have eligibility next year? If he does, I hope he's back. I love him as a player. He has impressed me probably more than anybody from my preseason expectation of what I thought we'd get from him to what we've gotten from him. Love him as a player. MIZ, true son, love the kid. But I just think realistically, when you're thinking about that stretch of game, running the ball it's not we didn't give enough touches to our running backs take. This is probably to manage clock, to manage situation. Run it one more time, and you might get 8-9 yards and still be able to go, we've got timeouts, we've got everything we need to maybe go field goal range or run a really interesting play that we've got in our pocket to try to give us a chance at the end zone. All those things are fine. The game ended on the strip sack fumble that was returned to the 2. The game ended. We could talk about things that happened in the second half that were unfortunate.
Well, no, here's what I'll say on that. That's where the game swung, the sack fumble.
Okay.
The game ended on the fake punt.
And and that was obviously, I guess to your point, if I'm mad about the fake punt, I can't say the game was over at that point.
Yeah.
But were they down 14? What was the margin
during the fake punt? Yeah.
Yeah.
Down 14. They just held A&M to their first 3 and out. They had just scored. Just scored to make it 21-7.
And the run game, run game was you had enough time in the fourth quarter
you were able to do this.
Run the football and maybe score again with the way that Hardy and Roberts both had big splash plays.
Yep.
So, but I'm thinking as that happens, it was like, oh no. We talked about it all week, Andy. For 2 weeks, we talked about, you know what? There are going to be spots in this game where kind of like A&M or kind of like Vandy, kind of like Bama, you can't afford those big mistakes. And in the moments that those has happened in Alabama and Vanderbilt, we said, oh man, can't afford that. But technically you were still in it at the very end. This was a game where I said you probably can't have too many of those big ones or it's going to end up the same where we'll look back and go, man, those swung the game with just how putrid the passing offense was in the first half. I was just convinced that was such a big gut punch. instead of it's 7-0 or maybe 7-3 or 7-7 at best, it's 14-0 going into half, and you've got no kind of offense at the time that we thought was going to be able to make up a 2-score deficit. I don't care how much time you had. So it was a huge coaching mistake by Eli Drinkwitz, not in a fall on the sword kind of fake way to placate people and just say, oh, it was coaching's on me. That's all he's going to say. It's all he can say. But really, that was pitiful to allow for that. And don't even give me a screen pass on 3rd and 10. Run the ball and play some defense. A&M had not marched on you. Talk about the fake punt. Your thoughts on
here's the thing.
On a special teams unit that has been useless for years.
The only guy that
has to be some accountability.
The only caveat I'll say is that Demarion Folks did his job on Saturday. That man,
he was good.
Can return the football when he gets a shot.
Where's he been with the shot of it all? Because that hasn't been a part of the lexicon.
We'll see. Here's the thing. I saw it coming.
Fake punt.
I could have. There were punts that A&M had early in the game where I see where Mizzou is lined up, and I see a gunner for A&M that is all by his lonesome on this near side. And look, they're not calling it, so they're not going to expect to be able to throw it in that situation. But like if the punter just takes the ball and looks up and he realizes that there is nobody on this right side, could have very easily thrown to it. And again, that takes the receiver on this right side to also realize this and be like, hey, I'm open.
Who was the LSU punter that saw that and just ran it Tress way?
Right,
you could just run it as the punter at that point.
Whatever it is. No, they could have done it several times during this game. And it just didn't.
5:05, we're digging more into the play because there is so much more to be said about it.
I want to quickly get Marty in on the KTGR hotline. Marty, quickly, what you got?
Well, I just think the game was just extremely frustrating. I think that most Missouri fans would agree with that. And, acknowledging the fact that Sollers is a true freshman and put under a tremendous amount of pressure in a situation against a very good Texas A&M defense. But you mean to tell me that's the best offense we could come up with? I mean, come on. What is the coaching staff doing? We had 2 guys rush for 100 yards each. So we ran the ball like everybody's been saying, pound it. We did that. We accomplished that. You mean to tell me we can't throw the football? You can't put him in a better position to complete some passes? What about some wide receiver screens? What about throwing to the backside of the backfield? We did very little of that. What about throwing to the tight end over the middle? What about having him get the ball and get rid of it quick so he's not sitting back there thinking too much? I mean, this is big boy football, and that's the best we can do offensively. And how does Auburn go to Vanderbilt and put 30
That's a good question.
That is a very good question. With no clue. Appreciate the call, Marty, here on the Big Show KTGR. Like, I don't know how much better or worse that made Mizzou fans feel, just the way that game was playing out, but I can understand either direction.
More reactions to that at 5:05, and you can call us then and we can sound off. We've got more to say.
573-875-KTGR. Also, leave a comment on our YouTube channel and on Facebook and tell us your thoughts on Mizzou A&M. We'll get Bill Connelly's thoughts about that and the rest of the college football weekend next here on The Big Show.
The Big Show with Andy and Brendan continues next on your total sports station, KTGR.
Before the sun comes up and long after it sets, ABC 17 News and Storm Track Weather keep working for you, gathering the information your family needs to take on the day, alerting you to breaking news and health and safety concerns in our area, plus tracking the latest weather conditions to help you plan ahead. It's everything you need to know from the team you trust most. ABC 17 News and Storm Track Weather, where the news comes first.
Shangri-La is proud to be a part of every black and gold home game this season at the Zimmer Tiger Tailgate. Swing by our tent to play games, win prizes, and hang out with Missouri's top team of cannabis aficionados. Want to join the fun? Pick up your free Tiger Tailgate tickets at any Shangri-La location. Then come find us on game day. We'll be bringing the energy, the prizes, and the community spirit that makes Tiger football unforgettable. Shangri-La Dispensaries is paradise found. ShangriLaDispensaries.com.
Columbia's best Black Friday gun sale is at Minutemen Defense. November 18th through the 29th, everything except ammo is on sale. Big giveaways November 28th and 29th, including merch, ammo bundles, and Cerakote packages. Don't miss Friday and Saturday specials, plus tiered savings on S-Tac gear. Shop their website now through Black Friday and use the code RADIO at checkout for a special Black Friday discount on your purchase. Visit MinutemenDefenseLLC.com. Minutemen Defense off I-70 in Rangeline.
This weekend, cancel your plans. Brunch is calling at the Dive Bar in Columbia. Start with biscuits, not just any biscuits, local made, buttermilk, sweet corn, even gluten-free, smothered in scratch-made gravy, pork sausage, or the chorizo. Don't forget the loaded biscuit, fluffy omelet, drenched in gravy, stacked so high it's basically brunch art. And then there's the Dive Cristo, smoked ham, house-made raspberry jam, gooey cheese wrapped in a flaky puff pastry. The Monte Cristo wishes it was this good. Brunch, Saturday and Sunday only at the Dive Bar in Columbia. Don't just eat, experience.
You're not the kind to make a nice little snow angel when the snow falls. You mark your territory in a different way, with a lemonade autograph. But when others tinkle their title in your business parking lot, you get peed off. Thanks a lot, Chad. Nice cursive work, though. Good for you, Tina. Tina? Wait a minute. Get rid of the snow graffiti with Crutch's Custom Exteriors commercial snow removal. Call Crutch's and get a quote today. Seriously, though, Tina, that's impressive.
I'm Michael Agnew with API Project Fitness. At API, we're dedicated to helping you reach your fitness goals with workouts that are motivating, challenging, and effective. Our group classes are high energy and designed to maximize your time with efficient movements and smooth flow. There are real results here to find, whether you're just starting out or ready to push it to the next level. API is where hard work meets progress. Everyone needs a fitness routine. Let us be yours. Sign up today for a free trial at apiprojectfitness.com.
Pro Designs, but better than a billboard.
Hey, this is Jimmy with Pro Designs, and maybe you've heard, we're the vehicle wrap specialists, but branding your business doesn't stop there. At Pro Designs, we can wrap your walls, windows, even floors.
Go to ProDesigns.com.
Come see them at their locations in Eldon or Columbia off Rangeline Street and I-70.
Pro Designs, but better than a billboard.
Your daily fix of local sports lives here. This is The Big Show on KTGR.
Well, the college football weekend was not kind to Mizzou, and now with 3 losses, college football playoff off the table. What else is on the table? We'll talk about that coming up soon. 573-875-KTGR if you want to call or text us. But let's talk all things college football, including this game that happened here in Columbia not too long ago with Bill Connelly of ESPN. Find him on Twitter at ESPN_Bill C, and go and read great college football content all season long from him over at ESPN.com. Bill, just your overall thoughts on how A&M just this seems par for the course for what they do to teams, but how did you view it from Mizzou's perspective and how they may come out of that with how they played?
Well, I think, we saw the plan pretty much from the start. You wanted to just kind of land a couple of big shots, hopefully get some points out of it, and then just defend with your life and, run sideline to sideline, keep Craver and Concepcion in check, be willing to, give up some gains to the tight end and everything. We saw it play out for most of the first half, and they almost got points a couple times. The false start right before the end of the first half threw them off schedule after a nice gain. And you could say through about 29 minutes, it was, playing out about as they wanted. But really, I think what we learned, in retrospect was when Matt Zellers missed Jude James on a pretty easy pitch and catch on the second drive, game was over. He was not going to make the passes he needed to make, and he certainly didn't. And they ran better than I expected, and they still lost comfortably. So, it is what it is. I guess this is when you're in God's hands when you're playing your third string quarterback, and it didn't work out.
Yeah, and certainly when you're facing that type of defense, it's going to be tough for any true freshman quarterback, and whatever it was, jitters or mentally how it works into the game for him. But just going forward, what now for 3 games, especially from that one position, should Mizzou reasonably expect now? Should they see step-by-step improvement from this guy, or is there a whole lot that needs to be not necessarily overhauled, but what else could be underlying for this Mizzou offense as they, they ran it well, but a lot of times couldn't get themselves unstuck?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting against Mississippi State because, it's really easy to watch this game and think, well, I mean, Mississippi State's just going to put like every player in the box, every defender in the box, and force Zollers to beat them. Except Mississippi State's terrible against the run and actually pretty good against the pass. I don't know if that changes the calculus at all, or if it really does make them just absolutely load up. But it is going to be really interesting in that regard. Mississippi State's just a competitive team. If you play well, you'll beat them. If you can't throw, you might not. And it's just going to be about execution at this point. This is still football. The seasons are still pretty short. These guys like each other and want to fight hard and play one more home game. And if they go out and play well, they'll be fine. And you just use this as a learning experience for the guys who are going to be on the team next year as well.
And Mississippi State coming off a 20-point home loss to Georgia. We'll see how they rebound and how Missouri does. Elsewhere in the SEC, though, Bill, Vanderbilt surviving a scare in overtime from Auburn, who apparently you take away the coach and they can now score 38 points in a football game. Who knew? Your takeaway from that and the way that it, I guess, saves the chances for Vanderbilt to potentially still have their goals in reach.
I was confused in the offseason because I thought Ashton Daniels was actually pretty decent at Stanford last year, and I was confused why the job was just kind of given to Jackson Arnold when Arnold seemed broken last season. Turns out he's better than Jackson Arnold. It just took quite a few games for him to get into the lineup. So, yeah, I mean, if you're Vanderbilt, I mean, the defense is falling apart. It's completely out of gas. They hit the bye week at a good time, but they survived. Diego Pavia had to carry some significant weight and did so, and survive and advance. When your first string quarterback stays healthy, you can do things in November. And I doubt they had the defense to survive Tennessee at this point, but you never know.
Bill Connelly of ESPN here on the Big Show, KTGR and the KTGR app. And when it comes to just the big picture in the SEC, especially at the top, when, really all four teams at the top, they played this weekend and for the most part didn't have a whole lot of trouble. I mean, maybe you could call that for Alabama because they didn't score as much, but still covered the spread there. But between Alabama, Georgia, A&M, and Ole Miss, how hard is it to parse between like who might be breaking through from that group and like competing for the SEC title, making runs in the playoffs here? How do you kind of square all that?
Yeah, I think, well, first of all, it was good to see Georgia show up in the first quarter. I realized they still trailed there for a minute, but trying to actually deliver your A game before you're down in the fourth is a great idea. And it was good to see that they have that card to play because, I mean, we know they are brawlers, and we know that if you do not take them all the way out, they're just going to be fighting, and it's going to win them some more games moving forward. But knowing they had a little upside, I think was pretty good. Alabama, I just want to see them dominate. It really is 2023 Washington all over again. When they know exactly the plays they need to make, they make them, and then they just kind of let opponents hang around a little bit. And if LSU had anything to offer offensively, they could have found themselves in trouble. The offense is extremely one-dimensional. They can't run the ball very well. That makes it an interesting matchup if you think about a potential SEC championship with A&M, because A&M can basically do everything except defend the run. So I don't know how that works out either. But no, I just want to see a little bit more domination from Alabama down the stretch. They have obviously the resume, but I don't know what their A game is, so to speak.
Do you think they can bring that against Oklahoma? That's going to be an interesting matchup where Oklahoma's kind of that better defense than what they have shown offensively as well. But how do you see that one lining up as Alabama gets that game at home this coming weekend?
Yeah, I mean, maybe we'll see a little vengeance for last year for that game. Maybe they bring a little extra in that regard if they're capable. But otherwise, I would assume it's going to play out a lot like the LSU game, just in that. Yeah, I mean, their defense isn't the absolute best in the country, but it's better than OU's offense, and they're happy to just kind of lean on that, take the big pass plays when they come, and just kind of slowly distance themselves throughout the games. My numbers have loved OU all year, more than I do, and they only have this as Bama by 1, so I'm happy at this point. Either SP Plus will turn out to be proven right here, or we'll stop overrating Alabama or Oklahoma, and we can actually bump them down a little bit.
Bill Connelly of ESPN here on the Big Show, KTGR. And the other one of those really big swing games coming this weekend with Texas and Georgia. It just seems that Texas has been just surviving through a lot of these, but at times looking pretty good doing it. And now they get a real shot at one of those signature wins. So, I mean, we talk about Georgia looking a lot better to start out games, but how do you see those two meeting up in Athens here?
Yeah, this is another kind of strength versus weakness kind of situation, or weakness versus weakness, I guess, with Texas's offense. They did a good job of stretching Vandy from sideline to sideline, and getting a lot of yards after catch on short passes, and that's good because Arch Manning's footwork still isn't great throwing the ball down the field, except you beat Georgia by throwing downfield. That's been their biggest weakness so far. Texas's run game, the offensive line isn't good. The running backs are banged up. They've had to lean on Arch a whole lot already, and they're probably not going to be able to run the ball against Georgia, but if he can actually hit some shots downfield, their defense is good enough to stop Georgia and make it interesting. I just trust Georgia so much more than I trust Texas this year.
Elsewhere, Bill, how do you react from some of the interesting action from the Big Ten this past weekend? Indiana finally getting tested and like needing to be great down the stretch to survive the game at Penn State, and then Oregon finding a way to get over the hump at Iowa, two teams that are still in line for the CFP after this weekend's results.
Yeah, Oregon has been Big Ten. They are now officially a Big Ten team. Their last two games have been 18-16 and 21-7. They're like Dante Moore's not doing a whole lot now, but their defense is suddenly second in my SP Plus rankings. So they're officially a Big Ten. That should be enough to handle Minnesota this week. Minnesota hasn't defended well at all on the road all season. But I think that was a great test. I think I was really good. They're top 15, borderline top 15-ish for me. And they almost Iowa'd their way to a win, and Oregon managed to survive that. So that was a great test, I thought. Indiana was kind of interesting. I mean, they really, obviously their number one receiver was out. They have a really good number two receiver who made about the greatest touchdown catch I've ever seen at the end. But they were a little bit handicapped, and Penn State, at home can still deliver. I think Penn State's actually kind of a top 25 level team again. So it was a pretty good test. They survived it. It made me trust Ohio State more, obviously. I do think they're pretty comfortably the best team in the country at this point, but Indiana still has a lot to offer and they survived. So they're in good shape here for a good seed.
Bill Connelly of ESPN here on the Big Show KTGR. Carnage in the ACC, apparently, with everything that has been transpiring. Finally. With all of those. Brendan's been waiting for it for years.
Yes.
It's finally happening. I suppose now Georgia Tech is more so in the driver's seat, but there's 5 teams with one loss. I just wonder how everyone is going, and it doesn't include Miami. So how do we make sense of what this conference could be putting out as a CFP representative here soon?
Yeah, I mean, Miami is the only team in SP that ranks higher than 24th in SP Plus right now, but they've lost twice, so they need a lot of help to get back into the chase here. Meanwhile, Pitt's 24th, Louisville's 22nd, Florida State's 28th. The fourth best team in the conference is 4-5, but then SMU's close, Georgia Tech's close. They're all bunched there together, which means everybody's going to go 1-2 or 2-1 here down the stretch, and we have no idea yet how this is going to play out. I do hope for Haynes King is. I have a piece coming out later this week doing what I did a couple months ago and ranking all the power conference quarterbacks. Haynes King's second in my rankings at this point. It kind of shocked me to see that. He has been so unbelievably good over the last month, especially 295 passing yards a game, 90 something rushing yards a game, ridiculous numbers. And he has to because his defense is terrible and getting worse. Kind of a Diego Pavia situation there. So I'm rooting for Georgia Tech, I think, here, but there's absolutely no talent. Really, I'm rooting for Duke to win it and at 9-4 so that 12-1 James Madison gets into the playoff instead.
Oh, there could be some craziness for sure. Now, this next question is not an ACC question. I want to be completely clear about that. But do you think that Notre Dame can hang 100 on Pitt? Because apparently that's fine in the world of Pat Narduzzi.
Yeah, that was, Pat. I appreciate the guys who don't just say coach speak, but Pat needs to maybe watch what he says sometimes. Really, that's the opposite. That's not bulletin board material right there. It's the opposite of that. So now Notre Dame will relax, right? And
there you go.
No,
because they need it. I mean, Notre Dame needs this win, and they're home free pretty much.
And Pitt is, like I said, up to 24th in my rankings. They put a freshman in at quarterback, and suddenly they've been the second best team in the ACC. So
must be nice.
And so they can attack on the edge. Yeah, a complete mystery true freshman too. And it turns out he's awesome from the start. And not having to play A&M in his first start probably helped, if we're being totally honest there. But still, he's confident. Pitt's confident. They attack on the edge like they always do defensively. It will be a good test for Notre Dame. I think Notre Dame's just playing too well right now, and that'll end up making the difference.
Bill Connelly of ESPN here on the Big Show KTGR. And then in the Big 12, I mean, I think it's pretty clear now who's who's got the top spot, at least for now. I guess the question then would be, Bill, like for anyone else that's trying to grab one of those at-larges that's outside of the Big 12, are they now in the territory where like it's probably going to be Texas Tech, assuming everybody wins out, and then either the winner of BYU Cincinnati coming very soon, that like, could there be a potential of just bid stealing towards the end? Is that really what we're on lookout for?
Yeah, I would think so. I mean, Tech, I was very curious where the committee would rank them last week, and they treated them with respect for the fact that they've been amazing, and their only loss came without their starter at quarterback. So that was pretty good. And it does feel like they're pretty safe now, especially with the BYU win. The most interesting thing to me here is like Utah really is in strangely good shape and almost probably doesn't want to make the Big 12 title game. Like they can kind of sneak into that number 11 ranking with nobody looking. And it's, I think, the same kind of deal where, they've lost to the two best teams they've played. They don't have an amazing win, but you watch them play, you watch them dominate. The computers love them. I got them 7th. I think Brian Fremeau's FEI has them even higher. They're just really good, and they might sneak in there. It'd be kind of interesting. And yeah, like I said, if a couple upsets happen and Utah sneaks into the game, like that almost hurts them. So we'll see.
Could be very interesting down the stretch here in this November, as it always is in college football. Bill Connelly of ESPN, great to chat with him here about all of it here on the Big Show KTGR. Follow him on Twitter at ESPN_Bill C, and go to ESPN.com to read his great college football content. Thanks for coming, Bill. I hope you're well. We'll talk again soon.
Absolutely.
Big Show is on at 4:42. KTGR and the KTGR app. I finally kind of opened up the rankings a little bit, and I started to go through all of the scenarios of all right, it's finally starting to take place here. I think here.
Louisville was an 18.5 point favorite against Cal. Wake Forest was underdog by about a touchdown.
Yeah.
And those games both go with the underdogs. Imagine that parlay. But it's just like we were looking at the games thinking, okay, who are these teams in the ACC going to lose to? This is going to be a real mess. And now it's less messy. Don't get me wrong, it's messy, but the answer ultimately is going to be none of you guys are worthy of an at-large. It's like, who's going to win the conference is sort of the way that it's probably trending.
The problem is Miami is the one to watch still, though, because that's similar to the Utah situation where they've got 2 losses, but they're in conference. And so they'd probably been just fine. No, we can skip the ACC championship too.
Because you don't want to find out the hard way that the committee is going to penalize you for losing that game.
Right.
Nobody wants to be the guinea pig on that.
No.
Find that out.
No. And look, they have manageable games the next couple, but then they go to Pitt, and if they win that, then that's like win. Their lasting impression.
Yes.
Without having to play an ACC championship, that would be interesting to see what the committee does with them.
No, I'm sitting here rooting for. I know what Bill C said about Notre Dame, and he's right. I'm sitting here rooting for Pitt, who I think when you look at metrics, you might not fully appreciate how good they're playing because their quarterback came in midstream and completely changed their season. And so could metrics be playing catch up a little bit on that? There's the hope of that then going into a game against Notre Dame where you're like, I know that, which again is so funny that their coach said that. If you lose by 100 to Notre Dame, you, as Bill C mentioned, if Duke wins the ACC, they could be left out in favor of another group of 5 champion if that group of 5 champion is ranked higher. And so if you're Pitt, you want your ranking to be good as well. You want that for seeding. You want that for every possible reason. I want it because I think it knocks Notre Dame out. It would be their 3rd loss. They would have and then Pitt would then be very much, I think, an interesting at-large potential case study if they were to run the table but then lose in a conference title. So the ACC will be very fun down the stretch, and I am glad now that I can view all of that play out, Andy, from a perspective that doesn't involve my team getting screwed, because my team didn't deserve to be in the conversation. So now I can just enjoy it for what it is. I don't have to go, but Mizzou, forget about Missouri. It's just going to be fun to be able to view it as a college football fan and root for the chaos. And then maybe it's another SEC team getting screwed, and then it's kind of funny if that happens. So I'm all in on.
Thanks for coming home, Brendan. Thank you for coming home. I've been asking you to come home for a while, man, and just.
It took me getting bitter in the season where I really thought my team was going to be good enough. Turns out they're not, and that's what it took to radicalize me on the whole thing.
Call or text us at 573-875-KTGR. We have Under the Bus coming up next. Charges have now been filed in federal court over these 2 Guardians pitchers that kind of knew were coming. And man, like it happens fast in the NFL sometimes. Brian Daboll fired.
We'll talk about it.
Yeah.
I had one reaction, and then the obvious was pointed out to me, and I kind of am on the other side now.
All right, so we'll get to that coming up next.
Now, your local sports center update on your total sports station, KTGR.
Good afternoon. I'm Billy Jones. This live local sports center is with Lee's Tire Company. If it's rounded rubber, Lee sells it. Lee'sTireCompany.com. Missouri falls out of the AP poll after a 38-17 home loss to the Aggies of Texas A&M. This is now Missouri's third loss of the season as they drop to 6-3 and 2-3 in the conference. Missouri will be back in action next Saturday against the Bulldogs of Mississippi State. Sit at 5-5 on the season. You can hear that one on KCMQ 96.7, 6:45 start for that one. The Yingling Tiger Game Day show begins at 3:45. Missouri's men's basketball team improved to 3-0 over the weekend with a win over Southeast Missouri State on Friday, 89-84, and a win yesterday against the Virginia Military Institute, 108-68. Mark Mitchell, the leading scorer for the Tigers in both games, with 29 and 24 respectively. Missouri will take on their first Power 4 team of the season on Wednesday as they welcome the Golden Gophers of Minnesota. 7 p.m. start for that one. You can do that one on KTGR. The Blues lost in overtime this weekend against the Kraken. St. Louis back in action tomorrow night as they'll take on the Flames at home. 7 p.m. start. Up next, your ABC 17 Storm Track forecast.
I'm ABC 17 Storm Track Chief Meteorologist Jessica Hafner. I'll be tracking another cold night as temperatures drop down to about 25 with a wind chill in the upper teens. We'll likely see more cloud cover tomorrow. It's much windier too, with temperatures rising back up into the upper 50s. Tomorrow night, we stay above freezing with lows in the upper 30s, highs on Wednesday in the mid 60s. I'm ABC 17 Storm Track Chief Meteorologist Jessica Hafner, and that's your ABC 17 Storm Track forecast on your total sports station, KTGR.
Did you miss the Mizzou Play of the Week?
Inside handoff, running right. Hardy, second level, between the hash marks to the 30. Foot race to the 15, to the 10, to the 5, to the house. Touchdown, Ahmad Hardy. With 6:45 to play. Rambles in from 45, and Missouri cuts the lead to 31-16.
The Mizzou Play of the Week is powered by Yingling. Your home for Mizzou football is KTGR.
Hi, everyone. Andy Humphrey here for Advanced Tree Solutions. You need to take care of your trees this winter. Why? Well, even though they're going to go dormant, if they don't get pruned this winter, then they could be at risk for not growing back as strong as they used to be come the spring and summer. So you have to get that work done. And a lot of those lawn companies out there, they may not know how to get it done exactly right. So you need tree experts. That's Eric and his team over at Advanced Tree Solutions. They are licensed and insured. They serve Columbia, Jefferson City, and Fulton. And Eric will tell you he's got 2 jobs. It's to take care of your trees and to take care of you. So he's going to give you a fair price. He's going to give you his expert opinion as to what needs to happen to your trees, and he's going to get that work done in a safe, efficient, and professional manner. So if you need to get tree pruning done this winter, don't wait because spots are filling up fast. Go to AdvancedTreeSolutionsLLC.com and get scheduled today. Give your trees the care they deserve with Advanced Tree Solutions, your tree's best friend.
Buckeye is your fall savings destination. Find unbeatable prices on everything farm, ranch, auto, home, pet, and outdoor living. Join the free Buckeye Buyers Club and get even more savings on every purchase, now through the end of the year. Stock up for the season and save big at Buckeye. Not a Buckeye Buyers Club member? Sign up free at Buckeyes.com.
Hey, y'all, it's Molly from Billiards. November is the month for giving thanks. But here's something we're not thankful for. Ground turkey. But seriously, have y'all ever tried to make a burger out of that meat? No matter what you do, it is dry. You know what you will be thankful for? Our famous Billiards burger. No turkey required.
Looking on down for burgers and beer. Billiards on Broadway.
No turkey burgers were made in the making of this commercial.
At Hearing Aid Consultants, we are growing, and I couldn't be more excited. As a local family-owned business, our next hearing instrument specialist needed to be family too. I'm pleased to introduce you to my daughter-in-law, Lori.
Thanks, Kim. It's exciting to be part of the Hearing Aid Consultants family, and I can't wait to help individuals on their hearing journey.
Come see us in Jefferson City. Hearing Aid Consultants and Allmake Repair Lab. We are here for you today so you can hear tomorrow. HearingAidConsultants.com.
Hello, I'm Doug Frank with Frank Hazelrig Cattle Company, inviting you to join us for our 13th annual Family Values Production Sale on November 16th. We're offering 80 performance-tested Angus bulls and 90 high-quality females backed by our better over bigger genetic philosophy. It's a great time to be in the cattle business, and it's even better with the right genetics. We're confident you'll find the most quality and value for your money at Frank Hazelrig Cattle Company. Request a catalog and preview videos of the sale offering at FHCCB.
Oh, look, a new idea from your same old agency. Except, isn't that what they pitched you 3 years ago? It's like they don't even care. Well, we believe relationships should evolve. At Fuse 32, we don't do autopilot. We challenge, create, and deliver. Real people, real strategies. None of that smoke and mirror stuff. If your agency's gone stale, maybe it's time to start exploring your options. Because comfort zones don't build brands. Fuse 32. There's nothing we can't do. Fuse32.com.
The best local sports talk around on your ride home. You've got The Big Show on KTGR.
Figured this was coming now. It's official. Sunday, federal prosecutors released an indictment that charged Cleveland Guardians pitchers Luis Ortiz and Emmanuel Clase for their alleged role in a gambling scheme centered around the first pitch of innings and them pretty deliberately delivering a ball in said pitched innings, and the rest goes. A bunch of people bet it and get a bunch of money, and they get paid and everything like that.
Yeah, I think there were even some more with Class A where it was miles per hour. Like if you can bet the miles per hour on a guy. So if you just let it eat with a first pitch fastball, like that would be something that could be exploited. I think this was there are multiple layers and elements to this, but in Class A's case, it's particularly egregious because he was on a contract, going to make a bigger one. Like he threw his career away for a $5,000 and a $7,000 payday. Like who knows how many other times maybe they didn't catch, but they only need these ones to say like you're done forever. Unbelievable. I mean, it's just crazy that it got to this point. And I've seen, I believe it was a memo from MLB that's been shared today. The adjustment Major League Baseball is making, and you can say this is going to help. You can say this doesn't go far enough, but limiting such type of player props for pitchers to like a $200 bet is the most one could bet, to where like, in theory, if you've got even a dozen people that are doing it, it's not going to make that big of an impact, which then in theory makes it tougher to pay out the player. And in theory, it's not as worthwhile to do it and to scheme this up. I don't know if that's going to make an impact, Andy. I say probably that first pitch of an inning thing, you could just do away with that altogether, and I wouldn't have a problem with it. But that's where we're at right now.
Yeah, you now can only bet a max of 200 on each one of those bets, and you also can't put them in parlays.
Which makes sense, yeah.
I think it's a half measure.
It is a half measure. I agree with you.
I would like them to just get rid of it completely, but I'm not in charge, so they can do it. And I don't make those bets. Like, it's just, don't. First of all, it's not legal here, right?
Right. Not yet.
Not yet. A few more weeks. But, yeah, that is tough for both of them. Like, not only Clase because he got the big contract, but like Ortiz too. They threw it all away. Yeah. And, $5,000 to $7,000 is all they got. Come on. Also, under the bus to Brian Dable.
He was put there. Yep.
Yeah.
What do you think of this, though?
Look, I put him in my bottom 5 NFL head coaches last time I did this, so I wasn't too shocked.
Where it's due.
But, there's not alignment anymore. Like, you picked the quarterback, and now you're getting rid of the coach, and now you're going to have a different coach for the quarterback.
He was right. He fought. That's what makes it tough. He fought to get Jackson Dart. He would have picked him even higher. I think they traded up to get him late in the first round. It was a genius move. The problem is Jackson Dart has taken a beating, and so at first I thought, man, they win that game yesterday if he doesn't get concussed. But then you would say, well, why was he concussed? Because Brian Dable keeps ramming him into a wall, and that's not going to be sustainable. And there was a moment they kicked a field goal on the goal line where if they had gone for it and gotten the touchdown, that ended up being the difference in the game as well. So you could say he's ruining Jackson Dart, even though Dart was a great pick, and he is setting things up where maybe some in-game decision-making costs them a win. And it's a very attractive job, I think, with what the infrastructure that they have in place.
No doubt. We'll see.
Under the
what
bus.
happens with that job there. But yeah, I was ready for Brian Dable to be fired after this season, and they just went and did a midseason. That's fine. I thought Gronk was retired already. I guess in theory he was. But today,
did he not?
Yeah, I don't know. He hasn't played in 4 years.
Right.
But today he officially, quote unquote, retired. 1-day contract. It's for a very good reason, though, and a very sweet reason, in honor of his late friend, a philanthropist in the Massachusetts area that he had just come into contact not too long ago. But she died of cancer not too long ago, and so he wanted to honor her by signing a 1-day contract with the Patriots today, retiring as a Patriot. I mean, he should retire as a Patriot anyway. That's where he made his fame and his success mostly. But also a very sweet reason to honor his friend in that way, which is
there. You
cool.
go. And what a career! I mean, what a career 4 years ago or whatever it was, but. Yeah, I mean, the dude was a stud. We know that.
Yeah, and he even got a bowl game sponsored after him. You knew that?
I don't know that I did. Is that new this
LA
year?
Bowl. I don't know if it's new this year. I can't remember if it was this year or last year.
If it was last year, I guess they didn't publicize it very well because I didn't know.
Well, it's one of the early ones. I don't know who plays in it. Either way, Mizzou will be playing in a better bowl game than that one this year.
Maybe.
But what else can you expect from this year? We'll discuss at 5:05.
The holidays are here, full of joy, family, friends, and yes, a little hustle and bustle. That's why you need Aleve. Between cooking, shopping, and all those extra errands, aches and pains can sneak in. Aleve is here to help with long-lasting body pain relief. Don't let body pain slow you down. With up to 12 hours of body pain relief per dose, you can keep up with the season's magic and all that awaits. Pick up Aleve and get back to what really matters, making memories. Use as directed.
We know exactly what you're not thinking about right now. Wiper blades. But now that you are, take a moment to think about how Rain-X is the #1 brand of wiper blades in America. Why? Because Rain-X thinks about wiper blades all the time. We obsess, so you don't have to. Simply install our blades and then think about literally anything else. So choose Rain-X, America's #1 wiper blades. And then go back to not thinking about wiper blades. Rain-X. Outsmart the elements.
Hey, Tiger fans, gear up for game day with Zing Zang. Score big with their Bloody Mary mix, crafted with 7 real vegetable juices and bold seasonings, or enjoy their ready-to-drink Bloody Mary canned cocktail made with premium vodka and 9% ABV. Prefer margaritas? Try their classic or mango margarita canned cocktails with real fruit juices and premium silver tequila. Find them at your local retailer. Zing Zang, taste the legend. And please, Zing Zang responsibly.
It affects hundreds of millions of people each year. The need for diabetes awareness is greater now than ever before. It's National Diabetes Awareness Month, and since diabetes is the leading cause of amputation, Boone Hospital Wound Healing Center reminds you that they offer several treatments, including their hyperbaric oxygen treatment to help prevent the worst-case scenario.
Real healing starts here. Boone Hospital, Boone Healing Center.
Learn more at boone.health today.
KTGR AM Columbia, KTGR FM Fulton Columbia, K286CL Columbia, in Missouri's total sports station. KTGR
is Sports Center.
I'm Christine Lisi. The Giants in the market for their 6th head coach the last decade. They fired Brian Dable after a 2-8 start for the 3rd straight season. Assistant head coach and offensive coordinator Mike Kafka is the interim coach. Joe Shane remains GM and will lead the head coaching search. And 2 names come immediately to mind for our Harry Douglas in that search.
Jesse Minter, who's done a phenomenal job with the Chargers, and he's been tied to the national championship in Jim Harbaugh at Michigan, and also he had some time in the Baltimore Ravens organization. Clint Kubiak and the job that he's doing right now with the Seattle Seahawks, and the relationship that he's been able to form with Sam Darnold and how that offense looks.
Bengals quarterback Joe Burrow returned to practice today in a limited capacity. 21-day window for him to be activated off injured reserves begun. Burrow's been out since week 2 with a turf toe injury. Guardians pitcher Luis Ortiz appeared in federal court today on charges accusing him and teammate Emmanuel Clase of taking bribes to help associates in their native Dominican Republic win prop bets based on pitches they threw. Ortiz's bond set at $500,000.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. We make the claims process easy so you can get back on the road in no time. It's why over 43 million drivers trust Progressive. See for yourself at progressive.com.
From Faro.
15 to the 10, to the house.
Bush.
Back to the wall, and it's got her.
And Arrowhead.
Touchdown, Kansas City.
To your speakers.
This is the big show, baby.
Get fresh takes on the biggest sports stories in mid-Missouri. Right now, this is The Big Show with Andy and Brendan on KTGR.
So Mizzou drops the game in football against Texas A&M over the weekend. Their third loss, CFP, that's all done. So what does the rest of the season bring? What's left for Mizzou football here in 2025? And probably still a little bit more review of that fake punt situation and our other musings from this weekend's game. That's all coming up here in just a few minutes. And you can call or text us if you would like to weigh in with your thoughts on the game, on the season. 573-875-KTGR is the number to do so. And at 525, we'll talk a little Mizzou basketball because they played 2 games since we last had a big show. One of them, yesterday's, pretty good. The other one, Friday's, I still can't forget about it. Still haunts me in my dreams. So we'll talk about that as well. But first, we got to do this because it's 5 o'clock.
It's time for the Top 5 at 5 on The Big Show. Number 1.
If you want to trade away for curtain number 1, you can have curtain 1.
Crushing loss for Mizzou in a lot of ways as they fall to A&M 38-17. You could tell they were in it for most of the first half, but then the huge swing at the end of half with the sack fumble on Zowers, A&M rumbles to the 2 and then punches in another touchdown to go up 2 scores. Then the fake punt, I think, is what ended the game. Mizzou completely fooled on direct snap to the protection man, and he just waltzes right past the scrum and then goes 48 yards to set up another score for A&M to go up 3 scores. And look, Mizzou just wasn't good enough in a lot of phases to win that game, and that's both on players and coaches. And so we'll see how they regroup now that the CFP is off the table. Still have 3 games left, and there are things to play for. We'll discuss that in a bit, but give us your thoughts at 573-875-KTGR.
Number 2.
Number 2, your timing is impeccable.
And from the weekend of college football, I mean, boy, Indiana sure needed the catch of the year to survive in Happy Valley over the weekend. They're definitely still one of the top teams, but maybe you saw a few chinks in the armor here. SEC teams that are near the top still very strong. I think we're going to see 4 in the SEC, 3 in the Big 10, 2 in the Big 12, and 1 in the crazy ACC, unless we even see some more craziness and 2 group of 5 teams get in, and Notre Dame. We'll see what happens there.
Number 3.
Yeah, Mizzou Hoops, lucky that they had a game yesterday that they got to blast VMI by 38 points. Otherwise, we'd be talking about the fact that they just snuck past SEMO on Friday night. They gave up a whole lot of points and not a whole lot of time, but they eventually survived 89-84 on Friday. And we'll talk about the ups and downs of the weekend, essentially, for Dennis Gates' group, but overall how you feel about the 3-0 starts. Interesting test they'll have at home on Wednesday as they take on Minnesota, and we'll discuss that here in a bit.
Number 4.
Oh, shanked it.
Chiefs are starting a new week after the bye. Big one coming up in Denver as they take on the Broncos. Divisional implications and playoff implications. Andy Reid wouldn't commit to Josh Simmons slotting in right away, but I think we can still expect him to be back at left tackle. Going to be important to monitor the status of one Isaiah Pacheco and Jawan Taylor throughout the week, it seems.
Number 5.
What did the 5 fingers say to the face?
You know, I would joke that the Bills had a Super Bowl hangover because they won their Super Bowl last week, but then they lost to the Dolphins the next week. But here's the thing. I think they made a move today that could increase their Super Bowl chances.
That's the Big Show's Top 5 at 5 on KTGR.
Give us a call or text at 875-KTGR.
All right, that was a mind melder. What the heck is going on with the Bills?
First of all, what are you doing? Letting the Dolphins run all over you.
That was embarrassing.
Yeah,
Devon Achane is still running.
He's still great. Like that's they got good offensive players. They're just not.
I think he just scored another
right
40-yard plus touchdown run, though.
Oh,
I mean, like just 5 minutes ago, he did another
You
one.
sound like a guy who was facing him in several fantasy teams.
I think I was in one league, but as I was watching that game unfold, I was doing some Sunday ticket action, and I was like, oh, Achane just ran for another touchdown. Let me scroll my million leagues and see. I'm sure he's burning me in a bunch of places.
Yeah.
I think he only got me once, so that was good.
But here is a move that I think will help the Bills that they made today. Kind of low key. It's going to fly under the radar, but I think it's brilliant. The Bills today, according to Tom Pelissero of NFL Network, they have signed McCole Hardman to their practice squad.
Okay.
Which
Why
I
is
think
that
is
so
brilliant in two reasons. One, McCole Hardman's only good for playoff moments, right? It's really it.
Right.
And you can stash him away for that. The other reason is now the Chiefs can't have him. So the only team that has made McCole Hardman look good, the Chiefs, now they can't have him. And he can't gash you like he has done. Like he scored the most recent game that he scored against the Bills in the Chiefs uniform. He scored that touchdown over in Buffalo for that playoff game. So I think that's a savvy move. It's what I do sometimes in fantasy teams. Like sometimes there's a running back that's on the waiver wire. I don't really need a running back, but I'll just pick him up.
Your opponent might.
Nobody else can have him. Right.
There you go.
That's what the Bills just did.
It's like we'll pay his practice squad money just so they can't late season do what they tend to do and be like, who's around in November to add?
Nope.
Fair enough.
Can't do that. So I thought that was a good move by the Bills today.
By the way, though, love that for the Drake May MVP odds because Josh Allen took a dip after that loss. Mahomes is still going to be in the mix, of course, but right now they're not technically in a playoff position, so that's great. Matt Stafford rose up the odds, but
he was great.
He was great, and it's starting to piss me off a little bit because I told you about this Drake May $5 bet to win 500 from before the season, but Matt Stafford is like, I'm old guy Matt Stafford. I'm going to come take it from Drake May. I think Drake May has like the shortest odds of everybody right now. The two people I'm most worried about, Matt Stafford and still kind of Jonathan Taylor, because I know they don't give it to a running back, but if you look at his numbers and you look what he's doing and you look what he was doing this weekend, Jonathan Taylor could, like if they basically say, none of the quarterbacks are deserving of it, then it could end up kind of coming down to that. But Drake May, I think beating Baker Mayfield in Baker Mayfield's house was notable. And he was asked on the field after the game about some MVP chance he was getting in the road venue. And he made a great throw down the stretch of that game. Now, granted, he threw a pick in the end zone into double coverage that could have cost the Patriots, but it didn't. But he said, I think this chance might have been for Baker. You know, I really respect his game, and he's a great player. Yeah. And so Drake May is even like doing the humble act. But I'm full scale on him to win MVP from my preseason long shot from the summer. Anyway, that's a little NFL talk for you. More to come tomorrow, the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Of course. 573-875-KTGR. We do want to keep getting your thoughts in on Mizzou football. Now as we look towards the final 3 games of the season and what there is left to play for, Daniel saying, I've been a Mizzou homer my whole life. Saturday was disappointing, but also kind of what was expected. Kirby seems like he's checked out ever since Alabama with the play calling. Zowers is just a freshman quarterback, and he's going to need the reps to get where we need him to be. Bo was clearly the better quarterback. Reset the goals, win the next 3 in a bowl game to get to 10 wins. Game was over after the fake punt. That's a good summation, I think.
Let's talk about the fake punt, though. We'll talk about moving forward. We've got 3 games left.
Yeah.
A college football season is not just the playoff. It can feel like that when your coach is potentially being poached, that the attention could turn. But the fake punt, I think, is one that it did end the game because there was some momentum there. Mizzou had scored a touchdown. They did get the run game going. They did get a stop defensively, and then they just completely let their guard down with special teams that have been anything but special. And I don't think it's really just this year that we're feeling that way.
Here's Eli Drinkwitz after the game on the fake punt.
Third quarter, we're up 14. Ball's somewhere middle of the field, right? Momentum had kind of switched in our favor. We had max return called because we thought we were going to be able to generate some space for Kevin. And when you have max return call, you're not really in a great position to defend the fake. We had one guy over there, but that wasn't going to be enough. And so ultimately that's on me. I gave the okay. I said, hey, we can be a max return here. So that's on me as the head football coach. I approve those calls, and I got to be better.
Max return on that one for
Max
Mizzou
return
and all that.
So he's the most conservative coach, and I get so irritated about it over the years because I feel like there have been times where we could be more aggressive in certain situations. In this particular game, for whatever reason, the two biggest mistakes that come down to coaching are in a manner of not playing conservatively. It's the fumble in the first half where I say, run out the damn clock. Like, make sure they have no timeouts left. Run until they have none left, and then you can decide what you want to do. Maybe you just go in down 7-0. That's the conservative play where you pat your defense on the back in the locker room and say, you were in this game. That's number one. Number two is this fake punt business where we're in max return. I don't think I'd seen us return a punt all year of note. And every time the ball's in the air for a punt, that's not even something I mind because I know our special teams has not been particularly good. And I'm just saying, Kevin, don't drop it. Like, just fair catch it, and let's get our offense on the field. I don't have a problem with that. It's hard to return punts, especially when it's just not been a calling card. So why, when we're usually so conservative, do we go, this is the moment where we're going to break out max return to say, like, the biggest important thing that we could do right now for our season is to return this punt effectively? Since when? Why? When the ball's near midfield, as he acknowledged, and that is the time where a fake punt is considered when the field position, is negligible, where you say, whatever, we're at midfield. Like, this is keep possession of the football. That's what Elko was thinking. He had seen other punts in the game and thought, hey, this might be something that they're just susceptible to. As Andy mentioned, he saw it from the press box. So what are we doing? Can anybody explain to me what we're doing? And if we can go a little bit further than to just say, all right, we're fine with the canned answer of, well, I approve the calls, so it's on me. You also hire the coaches and you keep them employed. So my track record with demanding the head on a stake of position coaches, maybe not that great. I had one day in November of 2024 where
it wasn't great.
I may have tweeted something, but now I kind of want half of those people gone, but I definitely want the special teams coordinator gone. It's time to move on. That is a fireable offense in every sense of the phrase, to give up that fake punt in that moment. Let alone the kicking. Yeah, we can't kick. Let alone that I think there are people on the women's soccer team that might be able to out-punt our punter at times. But I tell you what, the fake punt is where I draw the line. That is inexcusable, that you're in a max protect for that. Drink will fall on the sword because you're the CEO, everything comes through you. What in the world are we doing? Pitiful.
I mean, I'm not going to argue. Like, look,
no,
I don't argue with I don't argue to fire coaches with that sort of
that's
stuff.
Fine.
But like,
I will.
And look,
that is a fireable offense.
And like, that's the. And here's the thing, I wouldn't have seen too much sense in doing it right now because the season is like you're resetting goals and everything like that. But I think next year is probably when you see something different. Like, it would,
Eric Link won't be the
sense
special
at
teams
that
coordinator next
sense.
year, but we also don't know who the head coach is going to be. We
That's
think
also
it would still
true.
be Drink,
like
but
but even if it's still Drink,
either way,
I think that's got to be.
That's a change that's going to be made.
And look, to your point, Brendan, like Kevin Coleman has had 12 punt returns this year. He's averaged 9 yards a return. So,
like, that's the upside play that we're going for in a moment where our defense has just swung the game in our favor, and all you've got to do is not bleep it up. That's all you've got to do in that moment. And they go, well, you know what? This will be a great time for a max return. I get it. Your offense is kind of, you don't really know, but they ran the ball so well on that previous touchdown drive. You've got so much time left on the clock.
And look, maybe that's
a
case of them being a little over aggressive, kind of similar to right before the sack fumble, like where they want to maybe try and throw and get all that. So like that's where it kind of comes together. Mizzou saw an opening where they could potentially like push a little bit more to get back into this game.
It was a mirage.
A&M was too good. Twice. They were too well coached. They were too disciplined to be fazed by any of that, and that's why they're in the position where they are.
It shows a lack of understanding of who you're playing against. To have a traditionally conservative-leaning coaching staff, almost to a fault in past years, but Drink always understood the situations when going into those moments, Andy, where I'm complaining about why are we going into the half without taking a shot? Why are we it was always erring on the side of caution. And in the two key spots of this football game, for whatever reason, against a really well-coached A&M program, against a really talented team on the other side who's not making those types of mistakes, we're like, we're getting this big grin on our faces like we're about to pull something on them. Like, what? It doesn't make any sense. And and you get depantsed in a moment like that where it shows a fundamental lack of understanding of what kind of football game was unfolding, that you become susceptible to a fake punt like that. Just plain and simple. And I know you're in the right to not say, but it's a fireable offense. Not for the head coach, but
look,
the special teams have got to be. It's unfathomable that happened.
You need to
all you can do is laugh.
You have to improve that part of your game for next season. Like that is inexcusable. And if it means changing out the coaches, you probably need to do that. But
I regret not asking Bill C. But I saw that the SP Plus, when you grade the units, like offense, defense, Mizzou grades decently favorably in the country. Special teams is like one of the bottom in SP Plus.
Yes,
and the eyes match what the metrics are seeing, in my opinion, on that one. So
yeah, man, like this was an all three phases type of thing. The defense out of the three phases was the best that Mizzou had, but even then, like I'd call it good first half, bad second half.
But and I had a tweet that after the third 50-yard touchdown, where you're looking at the guy's jersey number as he's running away, as I'm walking out of the stadium after that, I was like, okay, see ya. That I said, I know the defense was better than the offense and like a lot better. But I'm still not going to say great game defense when you give up that many splash touchdowns. But in fairness, the speed of A&M and their ability to execute got to a tired defense in the second half because they were on the field the whole time.
Yeah, this is what they do to teams. Like they wear you down, the dam breaks. Mizzou, I think, in similar games like that, like in conference games, Mizzou's defense has held up very well and has not let the well just spill out.
Without the free 7 points to end the first half, I think you could have played half number 2 differently enough that you get a little bit more length from your defense to last a little bit longer playing the way they were playing. But once you have to go a little more aggressive to catch up and it's not your game offensively, now you're exposing your defense even further. And I thought that was one of the reasons that was that and the fake punt were the two most impactful moments of the game, but the one that happened first dictates the rest of the game and the way that it had to play out. And that was costly to a defense that was otherwise giving you a chance to stay in that game. But Andy, I got real mad about the game like I said I would. Let's talk about what happens next. What's left for Mizzou in these 3 games? What's the answer to this question?
Here's the thing. I think Eli Drinkwitz let's hear Eli Drinkwitz's response to it when he was asked about how the locker room feels. But I think there's still something that you can drum up to make sure that, okay, next 3 games, you can motivate your team enough to play well. Here's Drinkwitz afterwards.
Devastated. Yeah, that's one of the toughest locker rooms I've been in because we all believed that we were going to win. We all believed we were going to win. They fought like they were going to win. There's just a couple of really big plays on defense and a big play on offense that changes us. We give up the tunnel screen, jailbreak screen. We give up the long run, and offensively we give up the turnover. That ultimately I think we get beat by 21. That's 21 points right there. But our guys will pull it together. Next week, senior week. It's okay to be devastated. It really is. Like I told them, the only way you're ever going to achieve your dreams and goals is to put everything you have into it. Everything. And you got to work your ass off and you got to believe. And no matter what obstacle you face, you got to believe that you're going to overcome it. And our guys did. They kept fighting and fighting and fighting. And then you get the wrong end of the result. And so now you got to pick yourself back up. You got to put your guts back in and you got to find something else to fight for. And our team will. Our team's going to fight for each other next week for the seniors. We're going to fight to finish strong. We were in this situation last year after South Carolina. And we found a way to just keep fighting and believing. And that's ultimately what we're going to do. This team has a lot of strong leaders on it, and we're not going out like that.
So it is eerily similar to last year. Mizzou, again, after the South Carolina loss, they had Mississippi State and Arkansas left on their schedule. This year, Mizzou has Mississippi State and Arkansas left on their schedule, as well as Oklahoma, which I believe last year, Oklahoma was the game that Mizzou played before they went to South Carolina.
Yeah.
be a little more creative with the schedule making, SEC.
Well,
folks. Like, come on, like
we know that they literally just switched it from last year home and away.
They mailed it in on 2025.
That's coming next year.
But yeah, look, you can still have a 10-win season. I don't know what that means to people, but like 3 straight 10-win seasons has never happened here, and that's still on the table. That's what Eli Drinkwitz at least will be telling his team.
You got it. Yeah. You got to take it game by game, though. Like Mississippi State, I think Mizzou's going to open up as a favorite, but brother, that's not going to be an easy win if Zollers is playing the same way. So you got to figure out what are we going to do to put him in a position to win that next one, and then you can start talking about playing a ranked OU team on the road. But man, they got to win this next one.
It's still multiple motivations in each and every game. You have
big and little.
Senior Day this weekend and 2 rivalry games. Like I think that's enough that Eli Drinkwitz can use to motivate his group. So I'm actually, oddly, not too worried about that part of it. Like, look, the coaching carousel stuff is obviously going to be swirling around, and I don't know how much it affects it. We'll see. I don't think we get resolution by the time November 30th rolls around.
What's your percentage, just real quick, that he's going to be here next year?
I don't know, man.
Just a number. I'll give you mine.
I'll say 50-50.
So you think this is legit up in the air? You're not. Yeah. Sure. I say it's more likely that he's gone than he's back, but not by a ton. Maybe more like 40-60 or 33-66. Not. It's just because it's the perfect storm and the timing of it all. Not because I have any reason to believe that he's not being truthful when he says like we're going to rally together and this means something to him. I know that it does, but I do worry about the circumstances being so favorable for a coach that's wanted elsewhere in this particular cycle. So that does worry me. But a 10-win season, you go 9-3, you win a bowl game, that would be the 10-win season. I'm just hoping can I just be honest? I would love to see an 8-win regular season. Like, just don't, for all the talk right now about Drink has never won the big game, can't beat a top 10 team, all this stuff. It's also true to say he's never lost to these teams that he's not supposed to lose to.
Yeah.
You should not lose to Mississippi State. You should not lose to Arkansas in this season. You should get 8-4. You should cash Brendan's over 7.5 wins tickets. and you should say, hey, we didn't get over the hump this year, but we didn't really take a demonstrative step back if they at least go 8-4. But to go 8-4, you have to win the next one.
I think I said 8-4 at the beginning. Did I say
you
8-4?
Might have,
did I say
you might have to look.
I might have said 9-3 actually.
But we didn't know really we didn't know which games were going to, like, you knew Alabama would be tough. We knew Vanderbilt would be a challenge. Oklahoma on the road would be a challenge. We said those road games are going to get tougher. Auburn's going to be difficult, and it was, and you found a way. 8-4 would still be like, if then you get the commitment that, like, if Drink is just using all this by not saying anything or by not signing a deal, if it's the leverage he needs to say, look, if I ain't going to leave, I need this commitment from the powers that be and NIL and whatever else, that this is what I'm going to get if I stay here. And if that's what this is happening right now behind the scenes, great, because that means you finish at least 8-4. Maybe you can beat OU and go 9-3. It would still be a good year, man, if they do that. It'd be a really good year, especially with where we're sitting here today. And it feels kind of daunting. If you can do that and the program stays intact because they can compel the coach to stay with saying, here's what we're going to give for NIL and make sure you've got what you need to win here. If that's a concern, if you think, that other programs like Penn State or Florida or LSU or even Auburn can be the place where you can take that next step, rest assured, we are going to make sure that you can take that step here via, the finances that in this world of college football make it possible to do so. That I would feel really great about the state of the program, man. But there is definitely that fear of, we don't know. There's a lot of uncertainty here. And I do think the way they finish the season matters as well within that. So yeah, I'll see you all on Saturday. We're not bailing on this season. We'll be out there for Senior Day. And this is a big, man. If this is like the train's completely falling off the tracks, then we're going to have a different conversation after a Mississippi State loss than we would after a win, because Andy, at that point, I would look back to today and say, you were right, Andy, when you said there should be plenty still to play for. And so if they don't, that will tell me a story that I don't want to read.
Right.
And so the idea that they do have things to play for, we feel confident in that. If they go out and show us that with a good, solid win over an improved Mississippi State team, then we're still on the tracks here with this thing. And the little voice in the back of your head about coaching carousel and everything else can just kind of stay there for now. But boy, oh boy, if we get a sense of, oh, Drink said they weren't going to check out, but then they did, that will be a dark place to go to. And I don't want to live there. So let's go focus on Mississippi State. That's what I say.
And look, like Mississippi State, they've been better this year. They are going to lay it all out there for bowl eligibility. Like they need one more. They need one more
they
win
play Ole
to
Miss
get bowl eligible.
the last game.
It's like, yeah, they have 2 games left. It is here and it is Egg Bowl.
2, please.
That is it.
Yeah,
so, I mean,
that's
a lot that you can pour into 2 games, like, because they get a bye in between, too. Like, I'm kind of surprised they get a bye this late, but I suppose Ole Miss does, too. And to make that happen. So, I mean, but there have been a lot of close calls. Like, they've been close, but they haven't finished the job against a lot of these teams. The only one that they've been able to pick off is Florida. And I think we know how good Florida is now, based off
now, wait a
this
minute.
past weekend.
Florida won that game, didn't they? Yeah, Florida beat Mississippi State. They fired their coach after, which maybe is why in your mind
that's why I thought that they missed that.
Yeah,
exactly.
they fired Billy after a win.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. So I'll say I'll retract that. That's my bad. The game they won was Arkansas, which they went to Arkansas and won that game. It's not bad, but Arkansas also was not good.
No.
So like
another reason that, again, Taylor Green, great player. When we get to that game, you still have to win it, even though they have a great offense and it's on the road.
Yeah.
I think tickets were $8 when I looked last week in terms of the secondary market.
Hey,
so
man.
that ain't going to be the. Oh, I know. If the circumstances were a little bit different, if we would have just won one of these games, A&M or Vandy or Bama, and we still had, I would have been in stupid Fayetteville, Arkansas for the last. I would have found a way to do it for basically free on the tickets department. But no, now it's just you got to focus on finishing with pride and still having a season to feel good about and proud about.
Or text this 573-875-KTGR here on the Big Show if you want to continue to get your thoughts in on Mizzou and what their future could hold for the final 3 weeks of the regular season. We'll also talk some Mizzou hoops as we roll along here in this second hour. Win that maybe didn't feel a whole lot like one, and then, stabilize things with a 38-point snoozer on Sunday afternoon. We'll get to all that and more next year on The Big Show.
Follow The Big Show on Facebook, X, Instagram, and YouTube. And keep it here on your total sports station, KTGR.
Hi, everyone. Andy Humphrey here for Lee's Tire Company. They are knowledgeable car people, great folks to work with, and they make sure you get a great deal, too. If you head over to leestirecompany.com, you can check out all of the great rebates that you can get on select tires. And if you're in the market for new tires right now, well, now's a great month to do it because Lee's Tire Company all throughout the month of November is giving you a free front-end alignment if you buy 4 new tires. So not only are you getting a top-notch crew to find the right tires for your vehicle, but you're also getting that free front-end alignment. Again, good through the end of this month. So head into Lee's Tire Company to take advantage of that now. And on top of that, their work is backed up by a 36 months, 36,000 miles nationwide warranty. Keeps you safe on the road, keeps you safe in your wallet as well. Head into Lee's Tire Company. There are 2 locations in Columbia, one on the Business Loop, another one at University Garage right by the MU campus, or their location in Centralia, or online at leestirecompany.com. Because if it's round and rubber, Lee's sells it. leestirecompany.com.
Hi, I'm Tristan Colon, Mizzou grad and 6-year NFL veteran.
I'm Charlie Sticklin.
And I'm Sarah Sticklin-McDonald of the Sticklin & Sticklin Injury Law Firm.
In football, home field advantage can make all the difference.
The same is true when choosing your injury lawyer.
We're locals. We know the courts, we know the towns, we know the people.
Just as I protect my team on the field.
Our family will protect your family.
When sorry just doesn't cut it.
Push back with Sticklin & Sticklin.
Hey, Lenny. George, good to see you. Yeah, well, it ain't so good to see you, pal. I wish you'd kept quiet all those years. Family Pawn's got all the hunting gear people need to do exactly that. Bows, scopes, ammo, everything. Doing what, George? Look at you, mounted on the wall for everybody to see. Not gonna lie, George. I thought I like hanging around. Their fireplace feels real nice.
Not your traditional pawn shop. Family Family Fun.
I want to go to Family Fun.
As a business, customers are your number one priority. You need them to survive, and you're always looking for more ways to reach them. That's where ShopMidmo.com comes in. When you're part of ShopMidmo.com, hundreds of potential customers will see your offers helping you build your base. ShopMidmo.com is an amazing tool for restaurants, retail, entertainment, and other places that offer great experiences. Find out how ShopMidmo.com can give your business a jumpstart. Contact us today at ShopMidmo.com.
ShopMidmo.com.
The warm scent of maple spiced coffee fills the air. And is that a hint of Caribbean rum? That must be Caldy's Coffee Highlander Grog Brewing, our decadent maple spiced blend that's won fans nationwide. Loved for how it smells and for how it makes you feel. Each cup brings back the comfort of a classic coffee morning. Cozy, nostalgic, maple spiced coffee. Shop Caldy'sCoffee.com for your bag today. Also available in pods.
KTGR and MU Healthcare Sports Medicine are highlighting a local athlete each week. It's the KTGR Athlete Spotlight.
This week features battle cross-country runner Adrian Bradshaw, who qualified for the state championships after advancing past the challenging Sioux Passage course. Adrian will become the first battle Spartan to compete at state since 2018.
That's the KTGR Athlete Spotlight, thanks to MU Healthcare Sports Medicine, providing everything athletes need to be and stay at their best, because they're competitors too. Back to more of the biggest sports stories in mid-Missouri. You've got The Big Show on the KTGR app.
Tell us what you think. 573-875 KTGR about Mizzou's loss to Texas A&M and what happens now. With 3 games left in the season, a bowl game after that. We'll bring you all of our reactions and thoughts to it here on KTGR regardless. Let's go to Marty here on the KTGR hotline. Marty, what you got?
Boys, I just can't stay away. This is my second time I've called you.
What you got?
Well, what I wanted to say earlier, and I know you had to go because of time constraints, is, I didn't expect to win the football game, but and maybe Texas A&M is just that much better. But Concepcion and Craver, okay. Those guys, and I don't want to slight anybody, but they made Kevin Coleman look like he's running in concrete shoes. I mean, those guys get the ball out on the edge, and they knew what to do with it. And Coleman is so small, any little bump knocks him down. But I don't know if the play was better blocked, they have a better concept, better schemes, or whatever. But those guys get the ball, and they're going north and south. And this thing with Drink on the coaching deal, does anybody really know if he's been contacted, if his agent's been contacted about any of these open jobs? Or is that just pure speculation? I see now where James Franklin's the number one choice for Virginia Tech. So that's what is being said. So every job that's open, it seems like Drink's name is attached to it. But I just wonder how much substance, and if anybody really knows what's actually going on there. Thanks, guys.
Sure. Appreciate the call, Marty, here on the Big Show. The answer to that is no, we don't know for sure what it is. We don't know. I'm sure that Jimmy Sexton is getting all kinds of calls for many of his clients about open jobs and everything like that. And Drinkwitz is probably included in it. I don't know how much it gets to Drink on that kind of stuff, but like people are back channeling at this point. It will become more aggressive once November 29th hits and the final regular season games are played, and the teams that know that they're not playing at all for the rest of the year, or they're waiting to find out when their bowl game is, like that's when it will, I'm sure, really ramp up, because the coaches have a little bit more time to think about their future. So look, we don't know for sure, but I am certain that when those hiring directors at Florida and LSU and Penn State and all the other big jobs that are open, I'm sure a lot of them see what Eli Drinkwitz does and be like, hey, that'd be cool. So like, I'm sure that there is still interest, even though we have no clue how much contact has actually been had, but I'm sure that there will be contacts at some point.
And I will say, like, in terms of some of those fan bases and their message boards, there are reports within those that say he has been. So, like,
sure, yeah,
you can take for whatever it's worth that. But yeah, that's I have seen enough and have read a lot of it just because I want to know what's going on to believe that, like, all right, there are at least people at these other schools that are their reporters are. It's not just the fans that are talking about it; it's people that are, reporting it for their outlets that seem to think that this is something that's taken place. So you always have to kind of, when you're like dive bombing into a situation, like, I don't know who the reporters for Penn State are, but I know how to find like the Penn State message board and see what's going on over there. And like, if those people are saying, hey, XYZ, then that's their reporting. And so you just, that's where there's like these layers of the onion where you go, yeah, I mean, where do you cross that line from speculation to hearsay to like, this is the fact that you couldn't dispute. We're not really ever going to get to that point, but like, I like the tea leaf reading, and I feel like I have a handle on it enough to feel like there's the real possibility that this, could take place. So, but again, he's the one that gets to make that decision at the end of the day. And so if he wants to stay here and again, it could be used as leverage to say bigger contract, or maybe, again, we talked about the last extension Drink got. It wasn't for more money for himself. It was for retaining his assistants. Now, I might be of the opinion that he needs different assistants, but that's a different story. Player NIL is another thing that's like, what can we kind of get set in stone here to make sure that I've got the resources I need to recruit like I need to and make Missouri the place where I can win like I want to. Like, those are probably aspects of this that I think are going on.
Billy, what you got?
The other thing that hasn't helped is you just kind of look through the pools of Power 4 candidates that would be attractive. And obviously, Kurt Signetti and Matt Rule signed extensions over the past couple weeks. You look at Brent Key, you look at Clark Lee, and you look over at Arizona State with Kenny Dillingham. Not to say those guys aren't movable, but they're at their alma maters, all of them. And that certainly comes with a heavier price tag, and it's a tougher sell. So I think part of the smoke is, like, you look around at Power 4 guys that haven't signed an extension, aren't at big jobs. Like, he's the name. I'd put Jed Fish maybe up there at Washington. Guys, that these schools are really talking about. And I think the more smoke that's there, surely they're at least contacting him, because I am sure he's on the short list for most, if not all, of these programs.
Yeah, I don't know. I couldn't tell you which one. I still think Penn State is actually the one in my just tea leaf reading opinion, would be the one that would concern me the most, because I think it's the only one that doesn't have that difficulty of, wow, the SEC has been a tough place to win, but it's only going to get more difficult with this new schedule. And yeah, people would say, well, why would the coach care about that if they've got the ego to believe they can win? Totally hear you. But also, Penn State is like a ready-made place where there's a fan support, there's
great
resources.
Great job.
It's a great job. And it's in the Big Ten, where I think it's easier to get to where a coach in this profession may want to go. And for a guy who's been in the SEC and hasn't gotten over the hump here, you could move to another SEC school with more resources, or you could, like, the pivot would be Penn State is a soft landing spot for somebody that, the heat's not up on Drink here. I know that people's reaction to the lost A&M was like, well, he can go if he wants to. I would say, like, seeing another game like that on Saturday was, I thinking, well, I'm less fearful of whatever's to come because I'm not enjoying what we're having now. But also, I still believe, like, Drinkwitz is the person that you like. Good luck hiring somebody better than Eli Drinkwitz to propel the program the way that he has done, right? So I'm not sitting here going, I don't care if he leaves. I believe that there is a possibility of it because of the things that Billy mentioned, the timing, the way the market plays out. That's reasons that other schools would be approaching it. Like, we'll see what the Lane Kiffin thing is. But again, if he's going to the playoff with Ole Miss and it's hunky-dory there and he signs an extension, that's another job that Drinkwitz could take. Like, I don't know if it's Florida, I don't know if it's LSU for Kiffin, but whichever one it would be, like, Drinkwitz is probably the second guy on both of their lists, if I had to guess, just based on everything that Billy said about, like, Power 4 sitting coaches and who's available.
It's all about timing. It is all about timing with this. And look,
and we're losing that battle now because we're out of the playoff.
Right. And so this decision could be, I don't know when it would be made, but, like, there is time between the last regular season game and when like bowls get announced and things like that. And there's a week there that a lot could happen. I'm not saying that that's the week that for sure that takes place. Now, I will say that is the week that Eli Drinkwitz, and this can be any week, we've talked about this, but that could be a week where Eli Drinkwitz says, hey, I'm staying, and signs the extension and all that. And
I hope so.
Right. I think that should be the hope for most Mizzou fans as well. Because look, again, there was the big game talk, and I mean, there's Jason on the text line here.
I do still believe that's a real thing.
Well,
I know,
look,
I know
he's saying if you go 8-4, where's the signature win? No, there is no signature win. Like if you're assuming that it's Mississippi State and Arkansas, the ones that you win down the stretch and you lose at Oklahoma. No, there is no signature win.
You're assuming those are auto
there.
wins.
Right.
You're basically saying like all these wins that Drink has won against lesser or equal competition are auto wins, and you just should roll out of bed and win them. Ask James Franklin if you can roll out of bed and win every one of those games like Drinkwitz has done. So like that's the other side of the argument is you do have to recognize that it's not automatic that we win all these games. It just feels that way when we keep winning them.
When Eli Drinkwitz has been the coach, it does feel
when
automatic.
Drink has been the coach.
Yeah.
But you should also kind of be able to remember within those games, ask yourself at halftime, was it automatic? Ask yourself at the end of regulation, was like, it took a lot to have Mizzou still have a perfect record in all of those games. Auburn this year, Auburn last year, Vandy last year.
Yeah.
Like all of these games were wins. Oklahoma last year. Like that's Florida in 2023. Like that doesn't just happen. So like, yes, as much as I think it is fair to point out, and I saw, Gabe DeArmond, Power Mizzou, he did some research this afternoon, put out some tweets to basically say, I think it's a completely, meaningless stat. And I don't think it's meaningless, but I think you have to offer the context on the other side. This is a program that also has not lost a singular game in the last 3 years that you would look at pregame and say, oh my gosh, this has got to be a win. Shouldn't lose this one.
And
like,
again,
that's impressive.
There are teams there are programs that are considered better than Mizzou's that have lost those games that they are expected to win.
And they've lost them to Missouri.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
You don't think Oklahoma thought they were going to come in and win last year? They didn't.
Nope, definitely
not.
So
that absolutely has to be mentioned.
Again, so like that's what you have to keep in perspective on that. 8-4 is not a bad season.
I would be fine with 8-4 this year at this point.
No, it does not mean that you pulled off an upset that you remember for a long time or anything like that. It does not mean you're a playoff team, but you still have a baseline of what Mizzou can achieve here. And Eli Drinkwitz has raised that. This is the direction that Mizzou now is still heading. And I think Eli Drinkwitz, as the coach, still here going on into 2026, can continue that direction. Now, again, going to have to answer that question every so often. If you're a touchdown underdog going into this game, every so often you got to pick off one of those and try to take the next step.
Or maybe you'll lose by 21. I think that's fair to ask as well.
Something like that. But I mean, kind of going back to like the Alabama game, like they're right there. And
that's a 3-point underdog, though. That was one where you're like, people think we should be in this game.
Right. And that's
win it.
Like if you're ruining Mizzou or you're bemoaning Mizzou's playoff chances right now, look more to that game versus this A&M game.
Oh, look, no.
Yeah.
Look to Nashville, Tennessee.
No,
if you really want to, I mean,
both of those,
more so than even Bama, though.
More so than this game in particular. Both 100%. Of those games, you look at those as the clear missed opportunities. Yes.
And one of them to give yourself a chance to go to Norman, and make the playoff. Yeah, absolutely.
So,
right.
I mean, that's what you're looking at there. Some people are asking about bowl games. Jason saying 6-6, staring it right in the face, a bowl that no one
could be
goes to, and lots of players
we'll
opt
find out.
Here's the thing: I think we have a lot of clarity as opposed to other years as to what Mizzou's bowl game could be, because first of all, I think there will be 4 playoff teams in the SEC. There could be a 5th. We'll see. The next one is the Citrus Bowl. That's the next best SEC team gets to go to the Citrus Bowl and play that one. And then there's the pool of 6, which is a collection of that's the group that the Music City Bowl was in, Texas Bowl, Gator Bowl, bunch of that stuff. Now, the SEC, I don't think will have potentially enough teams to fill all of those 6. I think there's possible that the SEC will only have 10 bowl eligible teams this year. I think it'll work out to 11, but in order to get to 12, there are going to have to be some major upsets that get pulled off. There are 3 teams right now that need to win out. That's South Carolina, Florida, and I believe Auburn. And if you look at their schedules, If you look at their schedules, they're not winning out. None of those teams are doing it. Mississippi State obviously could. 2 games left, Mizzou and Ole Miss, but it has to be an upset. Like it's one that they haven't gotten yet this year that
That's
they
true.
have to win.
Mizzou's 6.5 point favorite, by the way, for those who were wanting to know. That's the current spread.
The other LSU hasn't gotten there yet, but they will. They've got Western Kentucky still left, so that will be their 6th, and that will be the 10th team that is bowl eligible from the SEC. What's the other one?
Kentucky's going to probably get there, I'll tell you what.
Well, here's the thing. They've got
Tennessee Tech.
They've got a cupcake this week, but then at Vandy, at Louisville, they've got to win at least one of those. I don't know if they will. Look,
they're beating Louisville.
They have played better
every
this
year
week.
That, like,
I mean, they could.
Louisville's better. It doesn't matter. Kentucky is still going to beat Louisville, I think.
That's the one that I think is most likely. I think they'll beat Louisville, but they'll be underdogs in both. I'll say that.
That's
right.
Like
that has to be. So an upset has to happen in order for the SEC to get to 11. And so that's the thing. I don't think there will be enough SEC teams to even fill out all of those bowls. So we're not even going to get to the Birmingham or the Gasparilla or anything like that.
So you're going to one of the 6.
You're going to one of the 6 that the SEC has traditionally gone to. You're not digging to the bottom of the barrel.
I'm a who cares guy with the bowl this year because I really wanted it to be playoff.
Well, here's what I think you should care about.
Just a quick thing.
Here's what I think you should care about. And I think this is going to affect Mizzou a little bit more if Eli Drinkwitz is still the coach. Okay. 2 of the bowls in the group of 6 are the Liberty Bowl and the Dukes Mayo Bowl, and both of those are January 2nd. That sucks. That is late, and that is the day that the portal opens. I don't want any part of either of those.
So that's probably where we're going, is what you're telling me.
Well, maybe, but because here's the thing, I don't think they send them back to the I don't think they send them back to the Music City Bowl. That probably won't happen.
I have no idea. They'll do it. They'll send them to the Texas Bowl. They'll do it.
Well, but what I'm saying is that if they take the Music City Bowl out of the equation, there's a 2 in 5 chance that your bowl game is on January 2nd. So that could be interesting, to say the least.
I just think whatever, though. I mean, the players that are gonna opt out are gonna opt out probably either way. You know what I mean? I don't think the time of the bowl is going to change that a lot.
But like the portal opening is just I'm saying specifically if Eli Drinkwitz is still the coach and he's got to worry about coaching a game while the portal is opening up.
Can I tell you a little secret? He's going to be recruiting the portal.
No, everybody will be, but everyone else will get a jump on. Like everyone else's bowls will be earlier, and Eli Drinkwitz is still having to wait till January 2nd to play his bowl game. So there's that part of it.
I think that'll be a minor concern, but it is noteworthy. We will talk about Mizzou basketball too.
Yeah, up next. Tell us your thoughts on the up and down weekend, I suppose, but mostly up because they got 2 wins. Down and up.
Down and up.
Call or text us with it next on The Big Show.
Now, your local Sports Center update on your total sports station, KTGR.
Good afternoon. I'm Billy Jones. The Sports Center update is with Lee's Tire Company. If it's rounded rubber, Lee's sells it. Lee's Tire Company.com. Missouri drops to 6-3 on the season, 2-3 in SEC play, and falls out of the AP rankings after their 38-17 loss to third-ranked Texas A&M. Tigers are back in action next Saturday against Mississippi State, hoping to clinch their 3rd consecutive winning season. That will be the first time they've done that since joining the SEC. 6:45 start time for that one. You can hear that on KCMQ 96.7 of the Yuengling Tiger Game Day Show beginning at 3:45. A 2-0 weekend for Mizzou Tigers men's basketball. They won Friday night 89-84 over Southeast Missouri, and then they won again yesterday 106-68 against VMI. Both games featured Mark Mitchell as the leading scorer, 29 and 24 respectively. No game this weekend for the Chiefs, but both the Broncos and the Chargers won, meaning the Chiefs now sit 2.5 games back of the Broncos, 1.5 the Chargers. They'll play the Broncos next Sunday in a crucial division matchup, 3:30 start for that one. Blues lost this weekend 4-3 to the Seattle Kraken in overtime. They're in action against the Flames tomorrow at 7. Up next, your ABC 17 Storm Track forecast.
I'm ABC 17 Storm Track Chief Meteorologist Jessica Hafner. I'll be tracking another cold night as temperatures drop down to about 25 with the wind chill in the upper teens. We'll likely see more cloud cover tomorrow. It's much windier too, with temperatures rising back up into the upper 50s. Tomorrow night, we stay above freezing with lows in the upper 30s, highs on Wednesday in the mid 60s. I'm ABC 17 Storm Track Chief Meteorologist Jessica Hafner, and that's your ABC 17 Storm Track forecast on your total sports station, KTGR.
Chiefs Kingdom lives here.
This is the Chiefs Kingdom.
Kansas City! Tune in every Monday night at 6 for the Chiefs Kingdom Show, hosted by the voice of the Chiefs, Mitch Holtis. Hear from head coach Andy Reid and your favorite Chiefs players all season long. After every game, enter the doors to the Chiefs Kingdom. Monday nights at 6, powered by Macadoodles, Steve's Pest Control, and your total sports station for all things Chiefs. KTGR.
The holidays are here, full of joy, family, friends, and yes, a little hustle and bustle. That's why you need Aleve. Between cooking, shopping, and all those extra errands, aches and pains can sneak in. Aleve is here to help with long-lasting body pain relief. Don't let body pain slow you down. With up to 12 hours of body pain relief per dose, you can keep up with the season's magic and all that awaits. Pick up Aleve and get back to what really matters, making memories. Use as directed.
We know exactly what you're not thinking about right now. Wiper blades. But now that you are, take a moment to think about how Rain-X is the #1 brand of wiper blades in America. Why? Because Rain-X thinks about wiper blades all the time. We obsess, so you don't have to. Simply install our blades and then think about literally anything else. So choose Rain-X, America's #1 wiper blades, and then go back to not thinking about wiper blades. Rain-X. Outsmart the elements.
My name is Josh Arnold, and I've been working at Zimmer Communications for over 5 years. When I first started at Zimmer, I was really impressed at all of the resources that they have available to you to succeed. I started at this job right out of college. I think I learned more here my first 3 to 6 months than I did in all of my time in my schooling at college. Working at Zimmer Communications, you really feel like you're part of a team. You don't feel like you're pitted against one another. It's a really fun atmosphere that allows me to excel in my job.
If you're up for the challenge, apply now at ZimmerCommunications.com.
On game day, every needs a. And every tailgate needs Kingsford charcoal. And a match. Whatever lot you're in, whatever you're grilling up for your fellow Tiger tailgaters, Kingsford charcoal is the official charcoal of Missouri football. Without it, you're just standing around in a parking lot. Since 1920, Kingsford has been proud to fire up your tailgates with friends and family. Kingsford.com.
1851 Underground in Fulton is a unique spot with delicious menu items like the prime rib sandwich, sliced and stacked with pepper jack cheese, caramelized onion, creamy horseradish, and crispy onion straws, all on ciabatta bread. Grab some friends and check out the daily happy hour from 3 to 5, weekends included. Enjoy a craft beer or a cocktail. It's no secret, but it is underground. 1851 Underground Tap and Grill in the historic Brick District, downtown Fulton.
I'm Missouri Attorney General Catherine Hanaway. Fraud and scams can strike anyone. My office works to ensure that Missouri is free from deception and unfair practices. Last year, we handled over 65,000 consumer complaints and returned more than $400 million to Missourians. If you've been a victim of fraud, call 800-392-8222 or visit ago.mo.gov.
Paid for by the Missouri Attorney General's Office.
At Hearing Aid Consultants, we are growing, and I couldn't be more excited. As a local family-owned business, our next hearing instrument specialist needed to be family too. I'm pleased to introduce you to my daughter-in-law, Lori.
Thanks, Kim. It's exciting to be part of the Hearing Aid Consultants family, and I can't wait to help individuals on their hearing journey.
Come see us in Jefferson City. Hearing Aid Consultants and Allmake Repair Lab. We are here for you today so you can hear tomorrow. HearingAidConsultants.com.
They can't shoot it straight on the golf course, but they can shoot straight on the biggest sports stories in mid-Missouri. Back to Andy and Brendan on The Big Show on KTGR.
So, yeah, Mizzou basketball's 3-0. That's the story, right? Well, a little bit deeper than that. Here on The Big Show, KTGR and the KTGR app. It feels like if they weren't able to escape Friday night against SEMO, then, we'd be talking about something much different. But they were, and thank goodness Mark Mitchell put the team on his back in that game, and especially in that second half, and said, yeah, nothing.
Second half, yes.
Yeah.
First half, you cannot be 1 for 7 from the line. You just cannot.
Yeah, he finished 5 of 11, I believe.
He hit a few big ones late, to his credit.
Yeah. And look,
but that was, oh boy.
Yesterday, 10 of 13. Improvement there.
Yes.
So, there was
huge.
That part of it. And look, you don't want to have that happen against SEMO, although you're lucky that it happened against SEMO and not somebody better, right?
Correct.
That's the thing there. So Mizzou basketball they just didn't play defense for a very long stretch in that first half, and eventually they had enough in the tank to just overpower SEMO to make sure that it was at least a win. Only a 5-point win. You're going to get dinged in metrics because of that. They dropped 9 spots in KenPom as a result. Yesterday, they jumped up a little bit. They're back up to 35. They take on number 64 in that metric, Minnesota, on Wednesday. Brendan?
Okay, that's a game that'll tell us something.
At least
no doubt about it.
It's one you should win. You're projected to win by 7, according to Ken Pomeroy and his excellent metrics there. But still a game that tells you a little bit of something, right? Like, you might struggle a little bit. And if you do struggle, it might be harder to find your footing in this game than it was Friday against SEMO.
Yeah. And like you said, they won the game, so it's okay. But my takeaways from that one were the free throw shooting that we talked about, the lack of defense that you mentioned, that Gates kind of did his thing again where he said, well, it's not really a thing that we did. They just were making shots over us. And it's been however many years that he's been the coach. It always sounds that way after a game. He did go on to share some things that he did think they improved upon from one half to the next defensively. But I sometimes get frustrated with the quotes because I think it's more just a way to kind of protect the players. And then hopefully privately he's telling them something different. But it's year 5 or 6 or whatever it is. And I feel like we still have too many of these moments, year 4. And so, but that's a frustration for me. And just the sloppiness, Andy, and the turnovers that were careless, reckless. I think they fixed that a little bit yesterday. Anthony Robinson played a really good game yesterday.
Yeah.
And he was one of the guys on Friday that I was like, can we tone this down? And so maybe that was the wake-up call, and he played much better. So, I'm looking forward to Wednesday.
Yeah,
see what they're made of.
They stopped the team, so they've put that in the rear view for sure. And now they can just focus on, all right, let's get a win that might be a little harder to come by, but should still come by it. We shall see on Wednesday. Thanks for joining us today. We're back at 4 tomorrow. He's Brendan. He's producer Billy. I'm Andy. We're done for now.
Okay, Mr. and Mrs. Free-for-all RV Road Warriors, your best blast to